Hi, welcome to the Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm your host, Sherry Kachanis, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Bill Hannon and Josie Way, as well as our guest, Gladys Ellen. Welcome, Gladys.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about you and your holistic center.
So my business is called Heavenly Hugs. It's a holistic healing center in Warwick, Rhode Island. I'm an angel intuitive and spiritual medium. So I specialize in stress relief and complementary care, and I get people feeling good again.
Well, that's a good thing, is it not?
It really is. I love my job.
It's good to love your job. So how did you become an angel intuitive?
Well, I had kind of a rough beginning and never really connected with like a religion or belief system, and so I was kind of out there, kind of searching, and a friend of mine introduced me to the angels. I started reading Doreen Virtue books when I was a teenager. I would go to the library and come home and go in my room and just read these books and, all right, angels, if you're real, help me with parking spots and finances and, show me what direction to go into. And one thing led to another, and I started to explore the angels more. When I was, in my mid-20s, I was in a job that I didn't really care for. Good job, just not for me. So I was really searching for some guidance. My mom had given me a gift certificate for an angel reading, and that was kind of the beginning. I left there saying, I want to do that. For me, I want to connect with my grandmother. I want to, connect with the angels, and that's really where it started. The universe, pulled me out of that job, and 3 weeks after getting laid off, I opened up my business.
Wow.
And so I've been going ever since 2007.
That's awesome.
So
You had an interesting experience with angels back in 1995 when with Archangel Michael in one of Doreen Virtue's books.
absolutely, yep. Archangel Michael was the first angel that I was introduced to, and I've kind of latched on to him. He's the angel of protection. He helps us to move through worries and fears. And when you're kind of embarking on that path and kind of going off that traditional path away from the corporate world, I just felt like he was that savior, that protector that really kind of kept me going. There have been many times I've wanted to quit, and Archangel Michael has always presented himself. So, I was lucky enough to, submit a story to Doreen Virtue, and she put me in her Miracles of Archangel Michael book. So I just feel like there's that connection. He's like my go-to angel. I say he's my dude, right? And I share him with everybody.
Sure.
Yeah. You work with other angels too.
I do. Gabriel and Angel Ariel. Angel Ariel's working with a lot of the girls with courage and bravery, helping them stand in their power. Archangel Raphael, of course, he's an angel of mine. Yeah, and I believe he works with me through my my healing work. And like I said, I'm a firm believer. I mean, I've challenged and tested the system, and the coincidence and the experiences that I've kind of been through, and the miracles that I see on a regular basis is powerful. So I'm a believer, and I just feel like I'm here to spread that light, to share that with others, to get them feeling good again.
Yeah. Now, you do quite a few different healing modalities. IET, where you work with the angels, Reiki, magnified healing.
Absolutely.
And I think I've left something out.
I do guided meditation nights,
Yes.
and obviously the spiritual work, angel intuitive work, and then the mediumship, connecting people.
How do you know when someone comes into you? Is that where the intuitive comes in? What angels to work with?
Absolutely. If they're coming in for a like a spiritual guidance or a divine guidance session, I kind of sit them. I believe that everybody carries an energy with them, and whatever they have going on in their world, they bring with them. Right? Their angels, their loved ones, their experiences. And when they sit down, I open up that energetic window, and I take that energy and I connect it with an archangel, an ascended master, a loved one that's passed, to bring them messages that are going to comfort them, support them, teach them, and and inspire them. You know, my messages are always positive and uplifting, and I've done a lot of work with my own intuition, you know, on my own path, you know, so I don't doubt it anymore. I just know. I guess I'm more of a claircognizant, clairsentient feeling and knowing, you know, so I really had to work on that on my spiritual journey. So I believe the people who come to me, Spirit picks them, you know.
Yes,
for some reason,
they will. And what I find fascinating as an aside is as you heal others, usually it touches a little spot in you that needed that healing too.
Completely, absolutely. When you see those clients that are coming in, you're giving the same messages over and over again. I'm like,
Right, like a few in a row.
Think about this. There's a reason why I keep saying
This reflection.
Absolutely. You know, I believe we have two paths in life. We have our soul mission and our spiritual journey. You know, so our soul mission is how we're helping others. Our spiritual journey is what we're doing for ourselves, right? So we have to balance that soul mission, spiritual journey. So I believe my clients, you know, I always ask, you know, to send me clients that I can bless, that can bless me as well. So again, I'm always learning. I believe I'll be a forever student.
Oh, yes, right.
As we all, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
As long
know.
as you have an open mind.
Absolutely.
I know I'm not young, and I'm taking Doreen Virtue's Angel Card Reader certification course because I want to know more about reading the cards. And it's available finally without my going all the way to
Hawaii,
California
yeah.
or Hawaii. You know, as much as I would have liked to meet her in person.
Right. Well, it's one of those things that as you explore and do your research and try to understand, you realize that the further along you go, you thought you'd know more, and you actually realize you know less.
Yes.
Well, that's that's my definition of wisdom,
Yes.
is when you realize how little you know.
Right. Right. Right.
Have you always known that you could connect with spirit?
I didn't. Like I said, I grew up, you know, I had a wonderful mother. I just felt like I was one of those who were misunderstood. You know, I've never felt like I fit in. You know, so I made a lot of poor choices, you know, and we didn't have this, you know, when I was growing up. We didn't have people who worked with children and taught people about energy. And so it wasn't really until my mid-20s that I, you know, like I said, when I went to that angel intuitive reading, when I left there, she's like, Gladys, you know, you can do this too. She's like, you know, I believe we all can. You know?
That's a big confidence booster right there.
And so I remember getting in my car and I looked in my mirror, my rearview mirror, and I looked at myself and said, I want to do that. I'm ready, you know. And really, it was for me to kind of help me grow.
Right.
And like I said, it's become so much more. So now looking back, I guess I can see where I was sensitive. I can see where I might have been intuitive, but I shut a lot of it down for the fear and not really understanding. You know, the death of my grandmother at a young age, feeling really upset about that. You know, they kind of kept me from her, and you know, I didn't really understand it. I just felt she was gone forever, and I think I was angry about that for a long time.
Sure.
So now I have to say, I work with, you know, kids, intuitive kids, and kids who see spirit, and you know, I think the most important thing for them is to let them know that they're not, you know, they're not alone, that there are other kids out there.
And keep it alive.
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
That
It's a
ability to
gift.
connect.
It really is.
Right. And when you talk about gifts, I mean, you realize at some point you had to ask, and the most important thing about asking and receiving is you have to ask.
Have to. They
You have
abide by
to
the
ask.
law of free will, right?
Right, and they will definitely work with you. But the thing is, you actually have to make that decision. Actually, try to establish some kind of communication by verbally expressing it. You can't just roll it around in your head. And yes, you might be able to establish communication, you know, in the mind. But I mean, you initially have to ask.
Yeah, and it's funny because I see clients come in, and a lot of times they don't know that. And so I see their angels waiting, right? Their army of angels behind them, waiting to get, you know,
Right.
give that, you know, go you know, that permission. And then I see them, like, you know, waiting for them to tell them what to do, right? So
Right.
it's just a waiting game. So that's a big thing, is giving people permission to ask, you know, for, like I said, things as simple as parking spots and, you know,
Right.
ease in traffic and, you know, help with communication and, calling your angels in to help you, with that raise or,
Right,
that
right,
tough
right.
conversation with a family member,
It's a time to raise a family. Is a time to change a career. All of these major decisions, they can't make for you, but they can give you guidance,
They can show you the door, right?
show you the options.
Yep. I feel like when you work with the angels, anybody, and angels is an energy, God, source, creator, universe, energy, angels, it's all in that collection of energy. I feel like we're kind of like the pilots of our own plane, right? So, we've got our responsibilities to get the plane ready. They have their support system, the flight
Right.
attendants and the
Right.
people that are getting
Yeah,
on board.
right.
But the thing is, like, when they're all ready, they have to wait for that control tower, right, to give them permission to take off. So I see God and the angels very much like that control tower, because they're all seeing. They know the air traffic coming and going, right? So we need to kind of be ready. So when the universe hits that go button and gives us that clear to take off, we're ready. Because what happens when you miss that time slot? You're sitting
Right.
on the runway waiting, right?
Right,
I don't want to
right.
be waiting anymore.
Right. Well,
That's a
could you
great
give us,
analogy.
and not that it's really important, the hierarchy, but could you give us a little overview of what you understand as the hierarchy of angels?
Absolutely. So, like I said, I'm a challenger of the system. So if I don't understand it, I don't feel like I can share it. So when I ask them to show me like the energy vibrations on the other side, for me, God is the highest vibration of unconditional love, right? God, source, creator, universe. He's very much, let's call him like the president of a corporation, veto number one, right? So you go to the president when, you need to make major changes within the corporation, right? The angels are very much like the VPs, the COOs, the CFOs, right? They each have an individual job to keep the corporation, planet
Right.
Earth, and people functioning as a whole, right?
Right.
The ascended masters, Jesus, Mother Mary, Buddha, the saints,
Sure.
I see them very much like the managers and assistant managers of the corporation. And then our loved ones are the workers. So, everybody's got that role where they keep everything functioning
Our
as a
loved
whole.
ones who have passed.
Yep, our loved ones that have passed.
Right.
Yep, in spirit world.
Right.
They're like the workers. They're working in the trenches. They're working with each family member close
Right.
and helping them, So they're the ones that are really doing the work to help us heal, right? Because
Right.
of their passing or their experience of their lives, they're helping us on the other side. So if you can see, they're all working in unison to keep us, to keep us going,
Yeah.
growing.
The degree of cooperation and interactions is just amazing, just in getting you that parking spot.
Absolutely.
But they love it. They love it when you see that, when you appreciate what they've done, and you see
And-
that they've done something for you.
And they really appreciate it
Yes,
when you
the
say,
gratitude.
thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. I have a thank you dance that I do for them, and I say like, I go thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, and then I get like thumbs up afterwards.
I'm like, you guys rock.
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the gratitude, your energy of love, is really the key, the key to manifesting, right? The more you feel good, I say, when you feel good, the people around you feel good. When they feel good, the people around them feel good. When they feel good, the people around them feel
Right.
good. So really, peace on earth starts
ripples.
right here.
The ripple effect, the one pebble causing those
Yep.
ripples.
Yep.
You know what's really interesting, and I come from having read a book, and I'm not saying it to see whether or not you've ever heard of it, although I'm curious. Chances are you haven't. But for our viewers to maybe check out, it's called the Urantia book, and you're familiar with it. And it has an excellent section on angels, and you would not believe
The hierarchy and the names they
the
give you.
names. Oh my God! And it's just great to be able to sit back, and whether it's factual or not, is immaterial, because it shows you that there's some type of hierarchy where so many things are done in a specific way that just keep everything moving smoothly.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's amazing. It's kind of like a surprise party. You know, you've got everybody behind the scenes planning this surprise party, and you're showing up, but yet you can feel something's going on. Like
Sure.
I know, you know, with the surprise parties, like I know a couple friends of mine who've had a surprise party. They've called me, but I haven't wanted to call them back because I didn't want to spoil the surprise. So
Right.
we feel like something's happening. We
Right.
just don't know what. And so
Right.
that's what they're doing on the other side, is they're
Right.
setting these things up. But again, they've got to be sure that when they hit that go button, we're going to say yes, right? So that's part of our due diligence to do the work.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they do put up the red flags for us too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, don't go there. You won't like the results.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. That's the control tower, right? You know, drop 10,000 feet, go up, over, left, right.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean,
that's
it
how
isn't always let's go. Sometimes it's put on the brakes.
time out, right?
Yeah.
That was me in that job. You know, the universe said, you're done. You know, time for you to go. And I remember going inside, sitting down on the couch and saying, thank God it's over. And then I got back up and said, now what? Because at that point, I still didn't know 100% that I wanted to do this and jump
Right.
right in. It was only when I said yes that, like I said, a couple weeks later, I was renting space with an acupuncturist. It happened so fast. And then 6 months later, I found the office that I'm in now, and I've been there ever since.
When it moves quickly, you know the spirits are working with you.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like they say, she's listening, let's help her, and she's appreciating and she's grateful. Let's keep this going.
Keep the momentum going. That's why I keep saying, I promise. You know, my trick is I tell them to tell me twice. If it's supposed to be something I'm supposed to do, say, be, or have, show me twice. So if it's a book, show me it twice, whether it be online, whether it be somebody tells me, whether it's something. That's kind of my guidance system so that I trust. And so that's my kind of like my guidelines for them. So I always encourage people, create your own guidelines, right? Learn your own language with them, because divine guidance is consistent and it's persistent. So once they know how to reach you with the signs, we're going to see it over and over and over again to the point where it's like, what are they trying to tell me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then all you have to do usually is stop and meditate. Maybe if you do angel cards, you pull a few cards to focus, or a pendulum to focus, and you're able to narrow down what they're trying to tell you. Past, present, future.
Or all of it.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say is probably one of the most moving experiences you experienced yourself as you set up, upon this path here?
So, I kind of grew up with lots of fears, right? And so fear has stopped me from doing a lot of things in the past. And I've been working on the trust and the faith. And a friend of mine had organized a trip to go see Tony Robbins and his Unleash the Power Within event. And I knew I needed changes in my life. I just didn't know what. I was working too much. I was overwhelmed. And my friend called me and she said, let's do it. And I'm like, sure, if the money comes, and I kind of just threw it out there, and I was kind of sassy about it.
Right.
Well, I was away on a trip, and my friend who was organizing it had called me and asked me if I was going, and she said, she's like, I can help you out. She's like, this is going on, and the money was there. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I went, and the first day was the fire walk. And I went into it thinking there was some type of trick. There was something to it. And now it's coming on midnight. We'd been there since 1. It's midnight. And you've got 5,500 people from 44 countries around the world.
Wow.
And now we're being herded outside like cattle, right? The energy's going. And I'm scared. I can't even tell you. Scared. Thinking, what am I doing? I just want to run away. And I'm like, you know what? You came here. And you don't want to have to come back because you didn't do it. So I'm shaking out there, and people are clapping and chanting, and he's getting everybody moving. And I looked up and I said, I just can't be afraid anymore. I'm here for a reason. The universe put me here. I've got to do this. And I stood up there right in front of the hot coals. You see them, they're red, they're hot coals. And I looked down and said, this is it. From this point on, I'm jumping in with 2 feet.
Right.
And I missed it. When they said go, I missed it. And I'm like, and they're like, you can do it. And so I walked the coals, and I remember looking down, and they said, don't look down, keep going. So I looked up, I got across. Now, and afterward, they're spraying your feet with, the hoses and everything to get all the embers off. And I just felt like a liberation, like a freedom.
Yeah.
And I have to say, since then, I've been in 100% in this. So that was really, like I said, I had a lot of things up to that, but that was really the ultimate fear, right? And then it's funny because February this year, I jumped out of a plane, 14,500 feet.
A perfectly good plane?
Like that one more thing.
Why would you want to jump out of a perfectly good plane?
That was that one more thing, just to make sure that I'm in it. And it was an amazing experience. And I think I'm done with the risk taking now, But I think that was life changing for me because I doubted and I was afraid. And you know what? It made me realize that you needed the support system. It was because of the people that were perfect strangers cheering me on. I mean, I was shaking. Cheering me on. My friend had just gone in front of me, and I'm like, I can do this. And like I said, all along the side, they're cheering you on, coaching you on, telling you to keep going. And it's funny because when I looked down, that was when I realized that's when we stumble and fall, right? And Tony Robbins would say, look up and keep going. He said, if you look down, that's when you get burned feet. So many times in our lives, how many times do we look down and we get afraid, right? So we just keep looking up, right? To our,
Source,
unconditional love, vibration, keep looking up, and again, he'll guide us right through. So really, and that was 2013.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
It's powerful.
I don't know the source, but I know there's one quote about looking up. It's the only way you'll ever see the stars.
It's true. Absolutely. I'm always looking up.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing that story.
Oh, you're welcome.
There's
Maybe it'll inspire others, not maybe to firewalk, but to just take those risks. I mean, obviously everything came together and it was so easy for me to be there, especially when I joked, like, yeah, right, there's no way I'll be able to afford it. And then it just all came into place, and in that moment, I was just like, this is it. There's no going back.
Well, you wouldn't be able to afford it where you were at that time, but you were looking forward, and it just came together for you.
I was like, make it happen if it's meant to be. And sure enough, a couple months before, everything kind of came together. And I have to thank my support system and the people that have been around to help me, and cheer me on and get excited for me.
Right.
How can others incorporate the archangels into their life?
Oh, well, like we were saying earlier, ask. I think it's, it's important to, I say listen to their emotional guidance system. When they start to get the tension in their neck and shoulders, the stress, that's in those moments, that's when you want to ask. You're sitting in traffic and you're running late, ask the angels to stretch time for you. If you're having a difficult time with a family member, ask the angels to help you communicate with that person so that you're both able to listen. And for me, it's like I said, as soon as I start to feel that tension in my neck and shoulders, that worry and feeling out of control, I ask them to come in, and I teach about individual angels and who does what, but the angels joke with me and they say they know what their jobs are. All you've got to do is ask. And it's the little things, it's the little things that, we forget about, So I say, let the angels and calling on God for assistance be a go-to as opposed to a last resort. Because at the last resort, that's when it takes longer, right? Because our control has gotten into it.
Right.
And so I just encourage people to try it, you know what I mean? Just try it, and they'll be amazed at the miracles that happen. I have clients that leave skeptical, and because I say, all you can do now is leave and practice what we kind of brought out, and miracles happen. Their lives change like so quickly. So like I said, it's in their hands. I can't do it for them. We can't do it for them. They're ultimately the ones that have to ask. So I just say they can ask in their mind, right? They don't have to be talking to themselves out loud. It doesn't have to be anything formal. All it has to do is come from a place of love.
Yeah. And if someone perchance can't ask, they're too young to ask, or they're ill in such a way that they just can't ask, you can ask for them.
Absolutely.
And the angels will contact the person's higher self to find out if whatever kind of healing and help is needed,
Absolutely.
will be accepted.
Well, the power of prayer
Right.
is amazing, and the more people who are asking for a person. I do it for people that are stuck on the side of the road. Obviously I can't pull over and help everybody. I mean, I can't change a tire, so, but what I can do is I can send Michael, right, and ask him to help and protect them and keep them safe. People who are going through a bad time in their life, I can't fix it, change it, save it, make it better, but what I can do is I can invite the angels in and ask them to support and help, and as soon as they're ready, that energy will flood in, so you can send them to your loved ones, send them to the powers that be, your bosses and your, the difficult people in your life.
The man that cuts me off gets a prayer from me every time.
Lucky him. Absolutely. I say we've got to love the ones that we love and then the ones that are hard to love.
So tell us about your center. Where can
Yes.
people find you?
So I am located in Gold Plaza at 917 Warwick Avenue in Warwick. It's a private practice, so it's open by appointment only. I teach classes in energy therapies like Reiki, integrated energy therapies, magnified healing. I actually just started within the last couple of years doing angel intuitive training and mediumship classes, because there's so many people out there who can connect, right? So, I offer like a guidance for them. I've been there since June of 2008. It's a beautiful place up on the second floor. It overlooks the Pasnagansett Pond.
Nice.
So I've got this beautiful water view. It really is a gift from God, and I call it a holistic healing center. It's offering many different modalities to help people mind, body, spirit, and emotions. I try to keep things in a mainstream approach, so it's relatable for everybody.
That seems to make sense.
Yep, and I mean, my website, heavenly-hugs.com, has everything online. Anything they could possibly, questions and answers. They can book online. All those, all those things are online.
So can you give us your email address so people can contact you if they're interested?
Yep, it's Gladys at heavenly-hugs.com.
Excellent, most excellent. That is a fabulous thing. So, are there events that you go to that people can find you?
I do. I was doing a bunch of expos. I haven't really been doing too many, but I've got a couple things in the works. So I usually say the best thing to do is find me online. I do speak at the First Spiritualist Church of Rhode Island, the First Angelic Temple of Rhode Island, located at Positive New Beginnings. The First Spiritualist Church of Rhode Island is located on South Rose Street in East Providence. I'll actually be there for Mother's Day.
Excellent.
Doing
I'm
the
going to
Mother's Day
pause you for
celebration.
just a
Okay,
moment
perfect.
because we only have a few minutes left. So I want to make sure that we thank
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
for joining us today, as well as Josie and Bill. Thank you so very much. And now we can continue talking.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget to thank our audience. Without
Right.
them, we wouldn't be here.
Thank you.
Well, that's great. It's good to get the background of what you've been doing and also to get a little feel as to how you came about. There are other people that may have had similar experiences and just have no idea where to go with it.
Absolutely. And that's my specialty, is I get people feeling good so that they can accomplish their own goals and, hit the ground running.
Or flying.
Exactly.
As it may be.
Take off, right?
Now, you mentioned Doreen Virtue. Is there anybody else in the field that you consider a good person to go to or research or check out?
Yeah, well, there's Wayne Dyers.
Oh, yes.
Oprah's got her Super Soul Sunday.
Right.
Deepak has his. Obviously Roland. He's a
Right.
local, medium as
Right.
well. So we're out there,
Right.
Absolutely.
And I know that Dottie Souza at Positive
Yes.
New Beginnings has an angel meet where people get together with their cards and get together once a week.
Yep.
Sounds interesting.
So you can meet like-minded people.
Yeah. And like I said, we're all working together. As you mentioned earlier, we're all supporting each other, and we know that we've got to be in that collection of support, like a support system.
Absolutely.
We're all doing the work.
That's right. And there's plenty to go around because there's someone for everyone.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Excellent.
Right.
There's healing everywhere if you know where to look for it. Because
Well,
of the
again,
angels.
it comes down to asking. You know, I
That's
just,
right.
I just
God will
find,
guide you.
right. That's right. And you know, just by putting it out there, you know, you're going to get some type of feedback eventually. So long as you keep asking,
It's true.
you know, I find it so.
Morning, noon, and night.
Yes, we'd love you to come back.
Yes.
Oh, I'd love it. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Gladys, so very much.
Oh,
and
so
thank
glad
you
to be here.
about telling us about Heavenly Hugs. And hopefully we will see you soon.
Thank you so much.
And the connection to angels
Yes.
anybody can have. You know, it's,
Absolutely.
you know, it's not a class of people that can just, you know, we're all
All
plugged
religions.
into.